Brad Williams, Excel primed. How about we play with a whole bunch of new functions and determine or insert a ratio between two scores? What am I talking about? We want a 1-to-1 ratio, or we want a 5-to-1 ratio, or we want just a ratio. Here is what we're looking. Here's the end result. And you're going, what? What's LCD? That's the lowest common denominator. You remember back in elementary school? For you youngsters out there, this should be a snap. Some of us who haven't seen this in a zillion years, we need to figure out the LCD. To calculate the ratio of two numbers, such as 9-to-1 or 5-to-16, you can use division, the GDC function, and concatenation. In the left-hand formula, score 1 represents the first number and score 2 represents the second number. The active cell in the example contains the following formula: B5 divided by GCD B5C5. Concatenate, an end of concatenate. You have to use this and sign. When you end the concatenate, want to continue the formula, you have to add another and then we're going to look at the second score, C5, GCD, B5C5. This formula appears complex, but its two components are actually quite straightforward. Formula for score 1 and formula for score 2. On the left, the GCD, we're using D5 divided by C5 and D5 by B5. We're not using the GCD function. Here we will. We're doing this in a couple of different ways. You could see where we use LCD and then we use GCD. GCD on the left, the GCD function is used to calculate the two numbers' greatest common divisor. Now, I never worked with a GCD. I've always worked with the lowest common denominator. Here, they're using the greatest common divisor. Semantically, maybe that's what it is. I suspect this is Excel's terms. I haven't spent that much time reviewing what GCD does. Why? Because it's really not that much of interest to me. But it may be to you. LCD, we just know that to find the common denominator, the lowest common denominator, we have to find the common denominator. And here we're using LCM, which is the formula bar. Go here, the least common multiple. Remember, this goes way back a zillion years ago for some of us, and we had to brush off our thinking cap and go, what? Well, here, 16, 17, what number can we divide 16 into, come out with a equal number? Well, 6 times 17 is what? Just do this, equals this times this. It's going to change on us. I hate to tell you that. 94, 87 times 94 is 8178. Reverse it. What is the lowest common denominator for 8178? It's going to be 94. That's the ratio, 87 to 94. That's what we're trying to come up with, the ratio between this score and this score. If we want to simplify this, let's see if we can. We hit F9 a couple times. Let's see if we can get some just friendlier numbers that may ring a bell. 18 and 12. Think about this. 18 and 12, what's the lowest common denominator? Remember, 18 and 12 will go into 36. 18 times 3 is 36. 12 times 4 is 36. But what's the lowest common denominator of 4? It's 2. That's what we're doing. What's the ratio? It's 3 to 2. I know. Okay, let's just do this. Let's go 25 and 5. Think about this one. It's a 5-to-1 ratio. Why? How many times does 5 go into 25? 5. How many times does 1 go into 25. 5 is what? It's a prime number. You can't go any lower than 5, right? So it's 1. This divisor is 1. So 5 to 1, there's your answer. I'm way off track here. In terms of the ratio, you can use this B5, C5. You can use this formula right here. But I went and extended this. Here, this is just concatenation. E5, there's your first lowest common denominator. The second lowest common denominator is here. We just concatenate them. If you want to ignore all of this stuff right here, pretend that it's not there, you can just use this formula. B5, GCD, B5, C dot. I just wanted to point out the fundamentals. And then the GCD, go in, the greatest common divisor. Completely different language. Going to do the exact same thing. Brad Williams, Excel Prime.